that I was not streaming.
Oh, you're not streaming on YouTube right now?
I already have all of it recorded, so it's fine. But
Okay.
yeah, I scheduled the stream and didn't realize you had to hit that. I'm still new to the whole YouTube thing. Okay, so other news: Amazon and Ford electric truck startup Rivian Automotive could target a valuation around 70 billion in its potential public listing later this year. Bloomberg News reported on Friday Amazon and Ford Motor-backed Rivian had a valuation of 27.6 billion. Reuters reported in January after a 2.65 billion investment round led by T. Rowe Price. Rivian, which aims to compete with Tesla, targets to start production on an electric pickup and SUV later this year. Let's see here. Eli Lilly, they had an antibody drug combination, has received an emergency use approval in India for treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19, bolstering the country's arsenal of medicines to tackle the devastating second wave of the pandemic. Australian broadcaster, we already went over that. Goodyear Tire is having some protest on the Malaysian factory, or at the Malaysian factory, over unpaid wages, unlawful overtime, and threats to foreign workers. Intel said over the weekend, their CEO Pat Gelsinger said on Monday it could take several years for the global shortage of semiconductors to be resolved. A problem that has shuttered some auto production lines is also being felt in other areas. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. As well as that's actually about it for this morning, as far as news for me anyway. We do have earnings on Zoom Communications, Digital Turbine, Ambarella. I believe those already happened. We did already have CGC. Their earnings was this morning. I have yet to go and see where they have landed. It looks like in pre-market, it's actually holding up relatively well, holding VWAP, looking like it could push. I was set on alert at the 9-day moving average on that 15 time frame. Kind of looks like a flag here, so it could be an interesting set. We'll watch that one. For me anyway, I am watching XPVE and NEO. NEO runs in sympathy of XPVE. Their numbers on their delivery numbers were basically impressed investors, and we have seen a relatively decent gap up this morning. And then as well as Baidu, Baba, kind of a lot of these other Chinese stocks saw a considerable gap up. A little bit further than I would have liked. Definitely would have liked to be able to catch some of that. But all in all, I do think that 220 is a relatively decent price target. Right now, the first target that I have is 205. Naturally, that's a psychological number, but also the support when we kind of were just chopping around previously before the pullback. So that 205, that's going to be my first mark. And then, of course, we had this channel here as well that we kind of traded in. So I will be keeping an eye on the 220 level. Anything past that, we'll kind of evaluate as it comes. As far as BA, I know Manny and them are going to be looking into this as a potential scalp. I am potentially looking out taking some leaps out on that one, so definitely watching that one as well. Sorry guys, I'm trying to hurry up. GRWG, this one has a phenomenal daily setup. This one, Atlas, also has kind of the same setup as well, so we are both going to be watching this one. This one has a pretty beautiful daily setup here, bouncing off of the 200-day EMA, and then finishing here in pre-market. It looks like we're going for that retest of the resistance that we broke. So that could be where we end up pushing off. We had really great volume to finish the day. It looks like in pre-market here, we're actually seeing some pretty crazy volume. I'm looking for a potential push within this week up to that 47.50 level. That's the first level that if we can break and hold a bullish daily candle above that, then I do believe we will see some continuation. Other than that, I did see a couple pre-market movers. Muds is come up, but that one actually looks like it could pull back. BBIG, that one has a weird looking flag. I'll be keeping an eye on that one with an alert there at $3. And then Cloudera, they gapped up massively, gapping up all the way from $12 to $15.88. So either they have a massive gap to fill, but it does look like a potential cup or the bottom of a rounded bottom, and it is coming off of a double bottom on 11.30 with a pretty large gap to fill all the way to $14. So anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Manny, who's going to cover some news and big betas, etc., etc. So go ahead, my boy.
All right, good morning, everybody. We all had a wonderful weekend. I will say, just before we start, one of the stocks I don't usually watch, but I really, really will be watching is Baidu. I don't know if Gary talked about it. This has a great pre-market setup, and this is easily probably sentiment from Alibaba. But all right, on to the bigger picture. So watches on my on my list today. One of them obviously is Boeing. Nice gap up. It's about 2%. If you look at it, however you want to look at it, the really best ideal trade would be over 250, 250. Assuming we take that out pre-market, then obviously I don't have to say this, 253. That's our main level to break. We need execution, at the ask. We need to see that level get broken. And we need to see that once we break it, if we do pull back, I want to see the bids hold 253. If they dip below it a little bit, that's fine, but I want it to jump back up, which is that's normal. It can happen. Now, and aside from that, I am watching Nvidia. Nvidia had a super bullish price target today. It's $695, bro.
Dude, that's just to add to the incredible price targets that are out there right now. I don't.
Which there are over 700. None of them are below 7. Well, yeah, obviously they are, but most of them are over 700.
And we're in the buy the rumor, sell the news type situation where the vote for that. We have a projected split date, but we do not. The shareholders
an approval
have not voted on that. So that's something that we have to keep in.
Exactly. That's something that I want everybody, if anybody's listening, to keep in mind. Like, look, I'm gonna tell you this now. Events are nice. Events are cool. They pay you, but a good 99.9% of the events are buy the rumor, sell the news. The day of the news, literally, it breaks down. It's what happens. You can't stop this. It didn't happen to Dogecoin. If I need to, use a really a more recent example. So that's just that. So back to it. I'm watching Boeing. I'm watching for a bounce around 250. I mean, just by looking at it, you could tell that that's gonna be a bounce level. I'm also watching Snow, but for Snow, I want to see it above 244 before I even decide to look at it to go long. Reason being is that there's a very, very aggressive supply zone above 244, and I don't want to get stuck in that rejection because Snow's big beta-ness hurts. Another trade I'm watching, it would be Tesla over the highs, pretty much over 636 is the level I would really clear it at. Then for Nvidia, I have a couple intrade day bounces. These aren't bounces that are gonna happen right off the gate. When I say intrade day, is if we go down, these are levels where we could bounce. So I have 643 and 642 zone. I have 638 and 634. Those are levels where NVDA can bounce in case we open red. If the index is open red, then that's levels I'll be looking at for a bounce. I'm also watching PayPal over 263 for a nice leg up to 265. That's easily given, assuming tech opens nice. Yeah, but more or less. Baidu, I am watching Baidu with Garrett. That is possibly the second of my main watches. I really like gaps on Baidu, and I really like gaps that are over 2%. So it's like the best of both worlds there.
What are you looking? Are you looking to play the gap fill and then?
Yeah, no, I'm bouncing it at the open.
Got you.
which is fucking risky, dude. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm debating on Boeing or that. But regardless of
EMA
it,
crossovers all over Baidu on the hourly.
all over.
Yeah, so you have
So
multiple.
yeah, there's that, and that's pretty much what I'm watching, guys. I'm expecting tech, as I've always said, if the Qs can hold above 635, we're going back up. If they, keep staggering below it, then 633.50. That's our decision-making level. So that being said, I'll give it now to Atlas, the penny man, with the penny moves of the day.
All right, guys. Good morning. So the watch list is kind of long today. Not every ticker has news, but I will go over the ones that I'm thinking have notable news. So VTNR, a price target on Friday. They've just continued to gap up every day for the past week. So watch that. Keep that on your radar. And then we have, let's see, Cloudera, obviously with the KKR private equity acquisition, and then also Cloudera has made their own acquisitions. They have purchased 2 smaller software companies that are SaaS-based that will be bundled into the KKR acquisition, which is essentially part of the same deal. So I'm going to have Cloudera on my watch for sure for the rest of the day and probably for the rest of the week. This is going to be some pretty big news. As you can tell in pre-market, their volume today alone surpasses multiple trading days combined. So it's going to be a big watch. I could see Cloudera easily going to 20. So just keep that on watch. LCTX, Lineage Cell is the name of the company. They reports retinal tissue restoration cases in dry AMD patients. Not sure what AMD stands for from a medical perspective, but I'm assuming it's something related to your eye. But they are showing promising results there, and this is gapped up on that news. PRTK, pharmaceutical company, said Tuesday that the. I'm sorry. What?
Sorry. No, I was looking up what you were just talking about. Go ahead.
Drug instead of having to do surgery.
Yeah.
Let's see, where was I? PRTK. FDA has approved their oral OLE dosing regimen to treat adults with community-acquired bacterial pneumonia. OEG, newly acquired subsidiary, has reached an agreement with PEC Corporation on a 700-mile engineering and construction project across central Mississippi. That is some decent revenue for OEG, so keep that one on watch as well. DCRN is a SPAC that is going to be merging with a battery company based out of Australia for a $1.2 billion SPAC deal. I'm trying to get an accurate market cap right now for DCRN because I think it's well below 1.2 billion. So once news hits this thing, if it is well below 1.2 billion, based off of the numbers that I'm seeing right now, this thing could easily go to $40. It's trading at $9.82 if it were to sell at fair value. So it just depends on the market cap number that I have is accurate, because I'm seeing a market cap of, let's see, and I don't think this is accurate. It's $500 million. So if I'm seeing a market cap of $500 million, this thing could easily double, at least go to $20 if it's supposed to have a fair value deal at 1.2 billion. But that's mainly all the news that I have for my tickers that I'll be trading today and some of the pennies. But there's a list of other ones that I'll still be watching. I don't necessarily have any major news. OSAT, PFIE, CRBP, ALYA. They have decent gaps and decent daily setups, so I'll be watching those. And then if you're a fan of hotels or traveling and you know that the reopening plays are going to be in swing here soon and have been, AHT and IHT and RHE are 3 to watch. So that's all I have for pennies today, guys.
Cool. All right. So we have a couple tickers. If you guys have a couple tickers, we can take a look at these in pre-market for you. I am, besides the obvious ones, Apple. This one doesn't look that great. It actually has, in pre-market, made a less than significant move. You can see here, I don't know if anybody is still holding those puts, but the downside right now, we're going through our third touch. So what happened here is we ended up breaking a downtrend, and with that downtrend we talked about in some of the videos, or in the videos that I talked about Apple, we talked about the inability to break over the linear deviation. If anything, it held it, but multiple short days coming in, and so now we're seeing Apple back down potentially to 123.76. I do think that Apple is going to break its daily support. I could be wrong, but it just seems, sometimes if you just take a look back, and you start to evaluate, where some of these stop outs have been, 135 was the Great Wall of China for Apple, just would not break it. And from there, I haven't seen any catalyst to help it move to the upside. Also, Apple's forever has cash on hand, and I mean, as many without the splits, their valuation would be massive. But I do think that, all that aside, there's still the possibility we could see a short-term bear market on Apple. And so, I mean, if anything, reaching the 120s, even the 115 level. But this is never, and like I said, we could triple bottom off of this support at 123.73, and I could be wrong, and we could move from there. But looking at the room given on SPY, it doesn't appear that we are going to see that. So, hold on 1 second here. Oh, the video premiums. You're good. All right. Ryan, I just saw ABT, Abbott Tech. I don't know what that is. That's not on our market. So yes, I think that you are going to end up getting a drop or a pick back up on this one. Massive drop, pushing all the way down to 110, all the way from 116. That's a pretty significant move. That is the 200-day moving average on the daily. So yes, but I don't really know what the catalyst was that moved us to the downside. So I can't give you a yes or no on that. If I knew, exactly what caused this drop, then perhaps it'd be a different story. So let's see here. Well, my kids are watching Lilo and Stitch. That's awesome. All right. Oil. There's been a lot of talks on oil. Atlas, what are your thoughts here on the daily? Obviously, we have. We're up against a reasonable, relatively strong resistance. Big gap up on oil, though. Very rarely do I see that. But I do think that we could end up pushing 50 at this rate within the next couple of weeks. Obviously, oil's no straight line. But I think today, seeing, looking at how it normally gaps up, we could see a slow rise. I think this is all, it looks like oil's WTI rose highest since October 2018 as OPEC Plus forecast a tightening global market before members meet to discuss production output. Today, the gold glut buildup during the pandemic has almost gone. Stockpiles will slide rapidly in the second half, according to the OPEC assessment. The IEA wants to boost output to put a lid on rising prices, and said current policy will widen the supply-demand gap.
Yeah, so I kind of been reading very similar news about oil, saying that like supply, we're going to burn through supply a lot quicker than people are anticipating,
Right.
and that's kind of what's driving that bullish price action. They're saying that based off of the driving demands this past weekend and what they've seen burned in oil, that they're anticipating that this summer we're going to burn through record amounts of oil than we ever have.
I think
that's what they're anticipating.
Is that with the resurgence of like travel?
Exactly.
Planes being bought. Yeah, I mean.
Yep. They're saying though it's going to be like at record highs. And here's one thing I will say: like my parents, and this is a side note, but my parents, and I think this speaks to it. My parents called me yesterday and they said, "Hey, we want to go somewhere on vacation in July, the July 4th weekend." And I said, "Okay, well, let me go online and see if I can find you guys an Airbnb or something or a hotel somewhere nice you guys could stay." Dude, I couldn't find them anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing available at all
and
for that whole entire
worth
week.
Taking a look at too, like stocks like Airbnb and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Really, really at lows. I'd be honest with you, I haven't really dug into the pay, and maybe that's something we can do together, is kind of dig into whether Airbnb, valuation wise, should be moving higher here in the future. Because I mean, like, I think that Airbnb will continue to modernize, and I do think that they may end up integrating more into the consumer, like Airbnb having not owned any property, being able to make money off of that. They can reinvest in long-term Airbnb suppliers, whether that be just signage or like whatever. There's different ways to integrate technology into this,
right?
So like I think that the Airbnb is a good investment. I'd just like to see what the valuation, what your valuation, what other analyst valuations are, and then kind of look at the.
So, I mean, it falls in the gig economy. Their market cap currently, based off what TradingView says, is $86 billion, which is massive. But it is a growth stock, right? But I think where it's positioned itself on the daily chart in perspective to where it IPO'd and how high it went.
Right.
I think Airbnb next earnings report, but the next earnings report, maybe by then or before or right after, could easily break through that 209 level. I think it's gonna crush, like absolutely crush next earnings, and I think a lot of people are anticipating that move, and it might run into that.
I don't know
into that day.
Well, the unfortunate thing about that is Airbnb's price target raises haven't been the most favorable.
Really?
Okay. Citigroup just cut us this morning from 197 to 149. So I mean, I think it's a long term. Find where our bottom is, and start maybe accumulating. And I do think long term, because I mean, like, Airbnb should continue to, revolutionize the. I don't want to call it hotel spit, but the recreational leisure, type of space, as far as vacations are concerned. I mean, the city of Savannah is riddled. I mean, you can't, like, it's more I was a manager for an Airbnb, and this was back in 2017, so like, this is just the beginning, I'm surprised it didn't go but that actually brings up another point. I want to go over some price target price targets today. So I was actually looking at this. You guys might have seen, and I think Atlas is looking at this one as well. But a firm, or that may have been Miles or Astro, but the Bank of America Securities raised it to buy from neutral. Price target $71, currently at $60.78. B of A is definitely not one that just usually will get some type of reaction. So I think I will look at playing a firm. The options aren't that bad. The premiums on them aren't that terrible, but I do like the setup. Definitely a bottom buy here. I think a good medium price target to play to would be 65.25 there, previous support. BA, we got an outperform. This is good for me and Atlas's BA leaps. But the price target from Cohen coming in hot at 290. That's always good. I don't know what CAL is. CL King upgrades to buy from neutral. Price target 29. DVN. They got a strong buy from Raymond James. Outperform to $40. And these are always good. If analysts are upgrading it, there may be a good reason for you to look at it. So keep that in mind when you're playing stuff in the future. This does look like a really ugly ass. Well, I wouldn't even say inverse head and shoulders, but it has that same structure.
Price target raises, and upgrades, and all of those analysts like BS that they do, all the manipulation they do. The good thing about them is that they provide trading opportunities. Like if you get a very bullish price target raise, 9 out of 10 that stock will run either the open or throughout the day.
Yep.
And then it'll fade. But it's what it is. You just want the opportunity. That's why I go over that, and that is why we have the analyst upgrade and downgrade. It's for that. That's why I repost the same info that I get to pick up my trades. I repost it there.
And this goes right into the other factor. Like when people ask me, like, how do I find these weird tickers? Like, there's a lot of people doing the foundationary leg work for you, right? You just have to be curious and willing to go and look at something that it really comes down to what catches my eye. Like, okay, wow, I see like a lot of mentions. I'm following the money. So there is yes, manipulation within the market and the way that news articles are put out. We know this. Do we fight it? Do we play against it? Do we shout and scream? No, because there's no use, and you'll be just screaming about the money that you lost. But you have to go with the flow. You have to like that. That's why I bring up Nancy Pelosi's trades. Am I political? No. Do I live in California or care? Like at the moment, like no. Georgia's got enough issues. But does she buy stocks and have great returns? Yes, she bought Roblox. She bought Alliance Bernstein AB, which did end up moving up and has continued to hold that 45 level. Still looks relatively good, at least long term wise. But she's making. She knows stuff. They're insider trading, and so we can't do that. But we can just look at what they're purchasing. It's perfectly legal. That's why I always usually keep Quiver Quant up here, but. I don't know why I typed it in there. But, all in all, they're bringing attention. They want to, retail makes up for 20% of the market. And a lot of people, these market makers, take profit in retail space. Like you'll see that rise right when you start getting FOMO. They're probably taking profit.
Guys, just as a heads up, AMC is trying to make a new high in pre-market.
Yes, dude. Okay, so the $150 or the $50 call for June 18th is $140. It's probably going to be more, but that is about the most risk in options that I think I'm willing to take. This one far surpassed what I considered for a gap. Right now, I had the price target of $29.50 as a potential rejection. So, anyway, oh sorry.
No, you're going. You're fine. I was gonna just saying they went bananas, dude. I'm thinking if retail really gets behind this thing, we might even get to 100. I don't know if it's gonna be today. Don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow, but whatever. It's possible
I
as long as
want-
retail continues to buy.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna help you guys, but there's a squirrel outside my window with a red tail, dude. Like, it
What
has
the
a gray
fuck?
body and a fire red tail. I would turn the camera around, but we gotta stay on topic. Anyway, anybody playing AMC, remember, when the shorts do decide to take their footing, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna take retail consistency, to put on a show like GameStop, yeah. And you know damn well that these institutions don't want what happened previously. It's going to start a whole new slew of shit.
Yeah, I don't want the SEC up their ass again. Remember, that's the main thing these guys don't want to deal with is the SEC.
That's the opposite side, right? The other side is everybody knows about a short squeeze now. People who don't even know what the hell a stock is. They know what shorts are. And they know that they can buy AMC on Cash App, which isn't really buying it, but there's all sorts of video game style apps that they can just go and buy this stock on. You can buy this stock on damn near everything. But all in all, retail is hot and behind this, even in pre-market. This could be, and think about it from this perspective. If they're not short, they're long. So if there's big money behind us, right? We saw on GameStop is a perfect example. There was big money on our side, right? They're not stupid. They know, like, they got in at the right time. So this could be a driving factor here in pre-market. But with that, YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna go ahead and move it over to the Discord. We will be long and live, and aftermarket. Probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock. We'll set a time in our Discord. If you guys aren't in our Discord, you can sit in there for free, and so that way you can get updates on the time. But anyway, thank you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now it's over.